Hi everyone, welcome back to BishopSheenRosaries YouTube channel, and today we're talking about the eighth wonder of the Rosary, and that is that the Rosary has the power to change history and bring about peace. This is a fun one. I think as somebody who really is a fan of history, I'm excited to talk about this because it just goes to show you that the Rosary and prayer has a purpose and it has actual results that we can see in the world. Of course, this then begs the question, how can prayer work? How can we know that the Rosary works? And it's a question that is so much farther beyond the scope of this video, and I would not be qualified to tell you about the metaphysics behind the prayers and what's working and when prayers are being answered. There's too many layers there. But what I can tell you on the very surface level is that prayer has the power to change people because prayer brings about a change of heart in the individual. Prayer brings about a physical change of headspace, of maybe actual physical space. You go to your inner room, you go to your church, you go to a sacred place to pray, and you sometimes can even, hopefully, take your brain to a sacred place, take your mind, your thoughts, and your feelings, your heart to a sacred place, and that brings about physical and spiritual and mental change in your being. And if this is done on a large scale among lots of people, it's really not that hard to see that the Rosary can change history. And it doesn't even take lots of people to change history. It could take just one person. Sometimes it is just one person that changes the course of history, but oftentimes it is a group or more than one person and their actions. And we'll talk about some specific Marian apparitions. Mary comes to just one person, or Mary comes to many people. The bottom line is that the Rosary always brings about conversion of heart through praying on the mysteries, through praying on what types of virtues we are striving for or trying to gain through praying these mysteries. And these types of conversions done on a scale with many people changes the course of history. And if this conversion can happen on a scale of one person to thousands or even millions of people, we will definitely see a better world and a history that's been changed for the better. Pope Leo XIII, one of the most prolific writers on the Rosary, talks about this many, many times. It has the power to change culture, to change society, and that is what we must encourage in our homes, starting with our own families, a change of culture through prayer. This can be something as simple as just praying for a virtue. I need to be more patient. Or it could be asking for a prayer of healing some brokenness, some illness, praying for a safe delivery of a child or a healing of cancer. It can be the end of a war, praying for the end of violence. It can be large, it could be small, something that we can answer today, something that will take maybe years to play out. And here's something interesting to think about. Because the Rosary is so different from everything else in your life, a different exercise, a different activity from all of the other things going on in society, this is what puts people in the right place to have conversion of heart. Because our church's view of the world and society's view can be so different, it's that difference that actually sparks something creative among the Rosary, something that might start a chain reaction, something that might start a revolution. This is one of the reasons that the Rosary has the power that it does. And I've stated this before, when Mary does come and appear before someone, she always asks of two things. One, to pray her Rosary, and two, to repent for sins and to do atonement for those sins. And that's why we can look at so many examples throughout history where Mary comes to us in our brokenness. That could be in wartime or not, or it could just be in a time that desperately needs healing, and the prayers that come from the Rosary. Our Lady of Fatima appeared to the children in Portugal during World War I, also foreshadowing the destruction that could come with World War II if Russia does not convert. During the height of the Franco-Prussian War is when Our Lady of Hope appeared in Pont-Main, France. During the Nicaraguan Civil War in the 80s, that is when Our Lady of Cuapa appeared in Nicaragua. Father Don Calloway uses the example of Belo Horizonte in Brazil, how there was going to be a huge communist rally and 20,000 women decided to march on this rally with their rosaries. And even just 6 days later, 20,000 grew to 600,000 people marched on the capital in Brazil, praying their rosary, praying for the family. That's the power of the rosary. In just less than a week, they more than 10x'd their number of followers in that march, in that demonstration, from 20,000 to 600,000. That's the power of the rosary. And in the late 20th century, we have two awesome examples of current venerables, hopefully one day saints, Venerable Father Patrick Peyton and Archbishop Fulton Sheen, Venerable Fulton Sheen, who this channel is named after. They both were huge advocates for the rosary, telling everyone they could possibly tell to pray the rosary, to pray for conversion within their own families, to pray for conversion within their own souls. And hopefully, it starts in the community and it goes outward from there. And yes, you can start a revolution with just your own prayers. Don't think that you're too small or that your prayers are meaningless, because they are not. And one last thing that I really want to stress before we close out the video is this quote at the end of the chapter, that it's not man's wisdom that leads to lasting peace. We can see governments sign peace treaties all day long, and it will not suffice. It is only the peace that Jesus Christ gives to us. Remember in the Mass, the peace I give you, not the world gives you. And that's the lasting peace, the peace that we can get from meditating upon the mysteries of the Rosary, from going to Mass, from receiving the sacraments. That is the everlasting, eternal peace that awaits us if we're ready to accept it. So I ask you today, are you ready to accept it? Will you give 1% of your day to your rosary, 15 minutes to pray on the mysteries, ask for conversion in your own soul, and maybe in one or two others in your life, that you can set that spark of flame in their lives, and maybe they could set that spark of flame, and then start a revolution that was just from your own rosary prayers. We never know what God can do with our prayers. We never know what Mary can do by distributing the graces of our prayers as God sees fit. And just remember to pray your rosary today. If you need to check out SheenRosaries.com to go find a new rosary for yourself or for a friend, please do that. Please like our videos, subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of the video. From us to you, through Mary.